I have a full-time job and a wife with 3 very demanding young children. I also love making video games. How do you balance and find time for game development whilst having competing responsibilities, work and relationships that need your attention? According to one source, over 75% of indie game devs support themselves with another job whilst working on their games part-time. For me, I'm heading near the finish line of my game Pigs in Space. It's taken longer than I'd like, partly because I've had less spare time at home than normal due to the stage of life my young children are at, and also because of a bit of feature creep, adding more features to the game than I'd originally planned for. I'm very lucky to have a full-time job as a paramedic working in a rapid response car where I can have unplanned downtime, although this is extremely variable and unpredictable. Lately, I've not had much downtime where I can work on my games, and I've chosen to spend time doing extra learning and development for my paid job. There are seasons and stages in life that allow more or less time for game dev when you have another job or are in education or have other responsibilities. I've wanted to have more time to work on making games or even making the occasional YouTube video like this. I've had to accept that I don't always have as much time for these things as I'd like at the moment. Balancing time with game development versus everything else in life is extremely important. Making games is important for you as an indie game dev, but unless you're relying on this for your income, maintaining family and close relationships, meeting your other responsibilities must be a priority. Don't sacrifice someone special in your life for your game dev work. Before 2020, I'd had a lull of several years without much game development, and I had a desire to pick it up again and learn the Unity game engine, because before then I'd been using Flash Professional, which had by then died and I couldn't use it anymore. I was waiting for more free time to appear until I heard someone tell me more time is not going to come, and so regardless of circumstances, start what you want to do now, even if you only have a few minutes each day to work on it. There's never going to be a perfect time for making your video games, so don't wait for a perfect time to happen, because a slower pace in life is not going to show up. I remember hearing one game dev who'd gone part-time to full-time working on their games that they found they didn't actually get more work done on the games, because when time had been scarcer, they prioritized and worked more efficiently. This may not be the case for you, but it will be to a degree for some people. How do you find more time to do game dev? You'll have to throw out the bad and some neutral things in your life. Go on social media less often, watch TV less, don't spend so much time playing computer games. Another way to do it is find where you can allocate 20 minutes or whatever you have available every day to work at game dev, or whatever you want to do, and this will add up massively over the long run. A bit of time can always be found if you look hard enough, even if it's only a few minutes every day. For me personally, I don't watch much TV, and I dedicate my spare time to game development. Some weeks I find time for working on my games, and other weeks next to nothing. I do find it important to continue only working on one game, otherwise I'll keep starting games and not finishing, which I did before in the past. Some game developers find it important to work on the game every single day, even if it's just for a few minutes to keep the motivation going so they don't get tempted to start some shiny new game, which is often the temptation for every game in the middle of their creation. Some game devs find online time management tools and ideas such as the Pomodoro technique, or breaking down the day into chunks of time and allocating tasks to these chunks are helpful. Many game devs find that being part of a game dev community in person or online can help with motivational support for their work. Making sure you do something every day helps make it into a strong habit that you instinctively work on rather than choosing easier but less rewarding pastimes such as scrolling through social media. Doing game dev regularly allows family to get used to it and expect you to do it, hopefully allow you a bit of time every day to work on your game. Saying that, some game developers have a family that have a complete lack of understanding on the complex technicalities of the craft and imagine game dev is basically playing video games. Well, good luck to you in that situation. How can you find time to do your game dev without shirking your responsibilities or taking away from sleep, which are non-sustainable things to do? One thing to remember is to be flexible. Know that sometimes your time window for game dev has to move or shrink for a season in time. Being realistic with your game dev goals may be helpful for some game developers. I have game assets from the Unity Asset Store for RPGs, puzzle games, platformers, shooters, survival, horror games, RTS, racing and tower defense games, and I have a desire to use all of these to make games for everything. However, I have to accept I'll never have the time to make them all, and it wouldn't be good either. There's other things in life that deserve our time, and we owe it to ourselves to have a well-rounded life, not spending every moment possible in game development. Rest and breaks are important in life, and there are too many stories of burnout even in indie game developers. So guard against this happening to you if you're doing this as a part or full-time job. Last year I spent a few months of my spare time publishing a children's book, which was a fun change to game dev. I must admit I was glad when this was over and I could get back into making computer games, but it was good for developing my digital art creativity. Hopefully you've enjoyed these thoughts of balancing life and game development. It will be really interesting to know your thoughts in the comments below, and do like and subscribe, and I really appreciate those of you who do that. One last thought, I touched upon the idea of feature creep, and I did a short video on that topic, which is well worth watching for considering time management in making your games.